The new year is literally just 6 weeks away, and today we are going to get ready for it. Now, whether in this past year you've been feeling stuck, overwhelmed, unmotivated, or just simply lazy, we are not going to go into the new year drowning our sorrows in a sea of regrets. Instead, we are going to toast to a new year full of abundance, happiness, fulfillment, and roaring success. And I'll show you exactly how to pave the way for such a year by giving you a clear blueprint on how to have a kick-ass 2024. So subscribe, save this video, and get ready to start thriving. Let's make 2024 the year that you look back on and say, damn, I owned that year. Step 1 is going to be decluttering. Now, throughout the year, we tend to accumulate things, emotions, energies that may not be aligned with the best version of ourselves. So during this time of the year, it is time to let them go so that we can make space for new energy, for new things, new positive thoughts that are aligned with the best version of ourselves. There are 3 types of decluttering that you essentially need to do. The first is physical, which is your physical space, the place where you live. So your house, your cupboard, your shoe cabinet, your desk drawer, your kitchen, all of that. Take 2 days out of the week and spend time removing stuff that no longer serves a purpose for you. Whether it is old clothes, old shoes, old utensils, old tech, whatever it is, make sure that you are taking a few days out to remove all of this stuff that is not serving a purpose for you, but may be useful for somebody else. Because when we clean out our physical space, we also clean out the energy that all of these things were holding that were not serving a purpose. You can choose to donate these if they are in a good condition. If not, you can choose to throw them or discard them away in a way that does not harm the environment. Doing this exercise also allows us to prioritize better and to learn which things are important and which ones are not. The second thing that you're going to do is emotional decluttering. Yes, throughout the year, we also tend to accumulate a lot of emotions, pent up feelings that we are just not able to release in a healthy manner. So take this exercise as a permission to go ahead and let those feelings go. Now, there are a couple of different ways that you can do this in. The first, of course, is talking to a close confidant, a close friend, a close relative who you trust completely, to vent out your feelings to them, to talk it out, to help you process better. If that is not the case with you, you can always journal. That is something that I tend to do. I write things out in my journal, whatever I need to process, whatever emotion, whatever feeling. I have a conversation with my journal itself, and that really helps me break down whatever I am feeling. You can, of course, choose to go to therapy as well. Usually people tend to report feeling better in just a couple of sessions. It's different for everybody, but if you've never had it before, you might find it helpful. Now, there is another component to your emotional decluttering, which is releasing the pent-up emotions that are stored in the different areas of your body. What I mean by this is that whenever you're feeling a negative emotion, it tends to get stored somewhere in the body. For example, if you're feeling stressed or anxious, you will see that your shoulders bunch up, your neck hunches forward, and people tend to hold a lot of stress in this area of their body. A lot of people tend to hold stress in their hips, in their joints, and this over a period of time leads to a lot of aches and pains, and you might suddenly feel like, I have backache, but there's no absolute reason for it to happen. It might be because you're holding your emotions, you're tensing those muscles when you're holding stressful negative emotions, and over a period of time they become really stiff. So a few activities that you can try to release pent-up emotions from your body is things like dancing, yoga, restorative movements like Tai Chi. I think there's EMT tapping that people do to release pent-up emotions from their bodies. You can also try doing breath work. A lot of this stuff, a lot of tutorials for doing this stuff is available online. So make sure you check out videos on how to do this yourself. If that is not helpful, you can always take the help of a professional. You will be able to find it for a cost-effective price, but I would highly suggest that you go ahead and try something like this. You could also try massages, lymphatic drainage as well. If nothing else works, maybe working with a chiropractor, and it can really help relieve some of that tension that you have been holding in your muscles. And the final step of decluttering is to declutter your social media. Nowadays, content is our primary source of information, right? So as much as we all want to avoid it, and as much as we all want to quit social media, that is not the most feasible thing in the world. But the next best thing, the next most feasible thing is to curate your social media, is to have things on your social media that actually fuel your growth instead of things that hamper your growth. So every year I like to do this. I go to my Instagram, to my YouTube, and I go through all of the accounts that I'm following, and I will do an audit of sorts where I will just unfollow a bunch of people that are not serving any sort of purpose in my life. Right now, I think my social media is very, very curated. So I generally just get positive stuff all year round. But even then, I do this exercise once every few months, honestly. And whenever I do this, whenever I purge my social media of accounts that are not serving a purpose, it really, really boosts the quality of content that I consume. The other thing that I like to do, and this is an on and ongoing basis, but if you've never done it before, I would suggest starting now, is to click not interested on videos that you find are lowering your energy levels, are lowering your emotional state, not making you feel good about yourself or about the world. Just keep on clicking not interested in those, and over a period of time, social media algorithms will show you less and less such type of content. Now, this step is super, super important because whenever we are doing these yearly resets, we tend to focus on the things we want to achieve without really understanding what are the things that are preventing us from achieving those goals in the first place. So the first step you're going to do is sit down and think about the things that you wanted to achieve in the past year but were not able to. Now, we're going to take guilt and shame out of the equation completely. We're not going to feel guilty. We're not going to feel shameful about not achieving certain goals or desires. It's completely all right. You are going to look at your life as a third person, as somebody on the outside looking in and assessing what are the things that are not working. When you do this, when you have a third person perspective, a bird's eye view on your life, you are able to have a much more objective lens to judge the things from, instead of being involved one-on-one and having this emotional connection with whatever is not working in your life, which then prevents you from taking action, right? So you're going to observe the things that didn't work out, the goals that didn't happen, and then you're going to dig deep to figure out why they didn't happen. And the way to do this is to use the why method, is to keep asking the question why till you reach the root of the problem. So you're basically going to observe the things that didn't work out and then dig deep to figure out the self-limiting beliefs that actually held you back from achieving these things. Let's say that I had a money goal to achieve in this year. Let's say I wanted to make $5 million in 2023, but I was not able to achieve that goal. Now, I will go ahead and question why I wasn't able to achieve that goal. There'll be an action-related part to it, right? Which is maybe I didn't have enough projects, but maybe I didn't work hard enough, and maybe I didn't charge my clients enough, all of those kind of things. But you have to go a level deeper, where you ask yourself, why didn't I charge my clients enough? Because I didn't think my work was worth that much. I didn't think I deserved to be getting paid that much. Whereas other people in the industry are clearly getting paid that much, right? So there, you catch it. That is the limiting belief you have, where you think your worth is not as much as somebody else in the industry who probably has lesser experience than you. Now you understand that this is the self-limiting belief that is stopping you from going after your dreams for charging the price that you're really worth, so you can tackle it accordingly. I'm going to share a link in the description of a list with self-limiting beliefs. So it just gives you a clearer idea of the common self-limiting beliefs, and you can see if you have any of those. And once you identify it, because identification is the first part of change, once you identify it, you will be a step closer to changing those self-limiting beliefs and therefore closer to achieving your dreams. So one way to deal with these self-limiting beliefs is to judge the accuracy of them, to understand whether that limiting belief is actually true or it's just in your head. Like the money example that I gave you, you say that I don't deserve this much price because of XYZ reason, right? The core limiting belief here is that you don't think your services, your time is worth that much. But is that really the case? Now, to analyze this, you are going to judge your rate against industry standards. You're going to judge your rate against the rate of the most successful people in that domain, in that business, and see the quality of their work. And if you see that your work is of a much higher quality, for instance, you instantly know that that belief, that self-limiting belief, is not stemming from a lower quality of work. It is actually stemming from some innate problem, some traumatic experience that you may have held in the past, some money belief that you have grown up with. So again, you become a step closer to changing your self-limiting belief and getting closer to your dreams. In regards to self-limiting beliefs, it's so important for you guys to remember that whatever you tell your brain it will consider that as true and it will work accordingly. So if you seek opportunity everywhere you go, you will find more opportunities. If you seek restrictions wherever you go, you will always find restrictions. That's the thing about self-limiting beliefs. They are self-limiting. The world is not imposing these restrictions on you, which is why it's so important to tackle them. Now, the next thing that we are going to do with this newfound awareness of our self-limiting beliefs is to set our goals and to create a vision board. Now, our goals and our vision board can also be to overcome these self-limiting beliefs, because we now know that they are holding us back. So I usually like to have a mix of different things. For example, last year, one of my main goals was to work on my money mindset and to break out of this shell where I didn't think that my services or my content or whatever that I was doing for clients wasn't worth enough. I have to tell you, like, this is the best thing that I could have done for myself. Now, I'm usually very specific with my goals and my vision boards, and I suggest that people do the same, because the more specific you are, the more focused energy you have towards that thing, and the easier it becomes to manifest, to get into your life, rather than if you were to have like a very diffused, arbitrary sense of goals and your vision board, essentially, right? It's basically like trying to do multiple different things at the same time and not doing either of them well. So the more specific you are with your goals and with your vision board, the easier it is to achieve those goals. And I have found this to be true year on year on year. Like, I cannot tell you, the more specific that I get, as specific as possible, the easier I find it to achieve those goals. I usually have like a set of 5 to 6 goals on my goal list as well as on my vision board. So my goal list is like my written this thing, and those are the little post-it notes that also go on my physical vision board. And then I have a vision board on Pinterest, which is like the image version of those 5-6 goals, right? So I will have multiple images on the vision board, but all of those images align with the 5 to 6 goals that I have for the year. I already have a video on how to create your vision board on Pinterest, and this very wonderful person reached out to me on LinkedIn and they told me about how they manifested all of their goals that they had put on their Pinterest vision board. So it's a sign for you to go try it out, because it 100% works. Now, once you have your goal list and your vision board ready, the next step is going to be to decide on the routines and the actions that actually help you turn those goals into reality. Guys, nothing can happen without taking action. So when you set your goals and your visions for the coming year, alongside, you also have to decide what is the path that you're going to take, what are the routines that you're going to build, what are the systems that you're going to build that help you get closer to those goals every single day. Now, very important to remember before you get overwhelmed is that your routines and your systems are not set in stone, right? So you create a certain routine to achieve a specific goal. Once that goal is achieved, you can obviously tweak that system. So it's not finality, it's not the end of life to have a routine or a system for 3 months, 6 months, 2 months, whatever the duration you think is feasible for the goal that you want to achieve. For example, if I want to achieve my fittest, bestest looking self, I have to give myself 6 months to a year to achieve that fitness goal. So decide according to the goal that you have. How I like to do this is write down my goal on a piece of paper, and then I list down 3 fundamental habits or 3 cornerstone habits that I need to build in order to achieve that goal. For example, if I want to get into the best shape of my life, I need to work out regularly, I need to eat clean regularly, and I need to manage my stress levels as well as focus on my sleep, right? So 4 things that I need to do really well in order to achieve that dream physique. So I have now listed down the 3 or 4 fundamental things that I need to achieve my fitness goals. The next step is going to be, how can I make these 3 or 4 things as easy as possible to do every single day? So if fitness is my goal, for instance, I can sign up for an online class that as soon as I wake up, I can do right from my home. Or I can sign up for a gym membership with a gym that is really, really close to my house. For sleep, I can set bedtime reminders. I can set a hard stop on my work day. I can limit my social media or my phone usage at night. You know, all of these things. So these are tiny micro habits that I will do in order to make these 4 habits, my eating, my fitness, my sleep, and stress levels, as easy to achieve as possible. So one very important point to keep in mind is when you're creating these goals, these routines, whatever it is that you're setting up for the next year, make sure you're in a mindset of happiness and fulfillment when you're doing this, because that affects so much what you end up creating, right? If you are coming towards it from a mindset of lack of not being happy with yourself, of hating yourself, you're going to create a routine that is unrealistic for you to achieve. You are going to create a system that is not going to be in your best interest. So whenever you sit down to do this exercise, make sure that you're doing it when you feel fulfilled, when you feel calm, when you feel happy with yourself, because when you do that, you set the tone for your entire year. So now once you have your cornerstone habits and once you have your micro habits or the routines that you need to build, the next thing you're going to do is reduce your friction, all of your friction, as much of your friction as possible. And these routines and these goals can become as easy to achieve as possible. The first thing in this is, of course, prepping for your activities. So let's say going to the gym every day is the activity. Signing up for a gym membership or signing up for a class is first prep, right? Getting your clothes in order, getting your shoes in order, having everything in order before you start doing that activity is a great way to do that. Maybe having a friend sign up, anything that keeps you motivated in the zone for over a month, and you've done the job, right? So that's how you prep. You can similarly prep for healthy eating, you can prep for journaling, you can prep for your work. Like, the list is endless. Just figure out what the prep involves and do it in advance so that when you actually start doing it, you are not stopped by these little stupid things. Next part of this is to automate things as much as possible, and I like to use technology for this. So I have a reminder for every goddamn thing that I need to do. I need to take a multivitamin today, there's a reminder on Alexa. I need to water my plants today, there's a reminder on Alexa. I need to have a doctor's appointment, I need to get a blood test. Whatever it is that aligns with my goal, I either have it on my calendar, I either have it on Alexa, so that I ensure that I never ever forget. And when there's this additional entity that is telling me to do this, it's a no-brainer. You just get up, do it, and you're back to your work or whatever you're doing instantly. So to give you an example, if drinking more water is one of your goals for 2023, the way to automate things would be to download a water reminder app, to set up reminders on Alexa, whatever, that tells you to drink water every 30 minutes or 1 hour or whatever. And as soon as the bell goes off on your reminder, you just chuck down a glass of water. So ensure that you keep a water bottle next to your desk, for example, right? And you're training, you're basically doing the classical conditioning thing that Pavlov has talked about, where every time the sound goes off, you are doing this action. So now in the future, every time that sound goes off, you'll be trained to drink water. Another thing that you can do to automate your routines is to make your habits stackable, right? And this is one of my favorite tips from Atomic Habits, is basically you have one habit that basically rolls into a set of habits so that all of them get done if you just do the first thing. So for example, for my morning routine, I have this method. So if I wake up, I will do my meditation right in bed, and as soon as I do my meditation, I get up, wash my face, do my skincare. As soon as I do that, I have my coffee, and then as soon as I have my coffee, I go for my workout. So I don't leave time in between to think and to sit and mope ki wo delay hota chala jaye. As simple as that. Make your habits stackable so that they're easier to follow through. The next thing after you have try to reduce as much friction as possible is to start focusing on your brain health and your neuroplasticity. Your brain is so powerful that I cannot even begin to tell you. And what you need to do is you need to create conditions that are conducive for your brain to thrive in. Because if your brain is thriving, your mind is thriving, and your body is thriving. And if everything is thriving, you're thriving, my friend. Coincidentally, a lot of the conditions that are important for your brain to thrive are the same as the conditions that are important for your body to thrive. So it's two birds with one stone, which is your healthy eating enough fats, drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, reducing your stress, eating healthy foods, all of that jazz. I'll just put a list here so that you have a clearer idea. But essentially, you want to focus on improving your brain health. I'm not talking about mental health. I'm talking about the actual physical brain to improve its health. Okay, the second part of the equation is your neuroplasticity, which is the ability of the brain's neurons or neural pathways to change and grow by reorganizing. So what this means is the more new information that you continue to learn throughout your life, the better your brain becomes at learning new information, right? Those neural pathways are continuously changing and you're not becoming set in your ways. This is the easiest way to stay young for as long as possible. So the way that you can increase your neuroplasticity is to indulge in activities that force you to learn something new. So probably like learning a new language, or trying to write with your left hand if you're a righty, or trying to write with your right hand if you're a lefty. Learning new tricks, learning card tricks, probably learning how to play an instrument. All of these things train your brain to keep reorganizing the neural networks, and that way you stay as sharp as ever. And when your brain's in good health, when you have like this whole wealth of knowledge, you are much better off because of it, because you're able to apply it in so many different areas of your life. And the final thing that I'm going to ask you to do is to start incorporating visualization and gratitude in your routine every single day as a non-negotiable. I recently watched a podcast episode by Dr. Tara Swart. She is a neuroscientist and an author, and she talks about the power of our brain and the power of our thoughts in this particular podcast. And at the end of the 2-hour conversation, she said that if there is only one takeaway that people who are watching can take from this podcast, it should be that you need to start practicing visualization. She mentioned a really interesting study on visualization where she said that weightlifters were asked to not lift any weights for 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, they were just asked to visualize their muscle growth. And their muscle mass grew by 13%, which is insane, crazy. You can try and find the study and check the efficacy or whatever. But I have found visualization to be such a powerful practice, because when you visualize, you are sending the same signals to your body. You are telling your body what needs to be done. And your brain is so powerful, because your brain is what is sending signals to the rest of your body. So if you're not utilizing this tool, please start doing so now. The practice she suggests is to sit for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however much time you have, and to visualize the dream, the best version of yourself, and whatever it is. So maybe you want to be your fittest self. Maybe you want to be successful. I am successful. So you're doing your visualization practice, you have your affirmations, and once you're done with it, it just takes 5 minutes. You do your gratitude for being that person, being your best version. I really want you guys to try it and tell me if you see any difference, because I know that I have. Visualization has been such a huge part of manifesting my goals, and I would highly recommend that you try it. And with that, we come to the end of this video. I wish you so much love, so much success, so much abundance for 2024. And I know that if you follow all of this, you will be able to achieve your best year yet. So this is me hoping you have the bestest year yet. And I will see you in the next video very soon.